So the Premier League title might be over. It is still December though, you never know. But what isn't over is your Fan League season. Getting your average up to see if you can win big money at the end of the season prize pot is a must. You need to keep playing in order to qualify for that. So let's get into game week 17 after I did pretty well last week. 10 out of 13 again in a week where there were some really odd results. Sven also got 10 out of 13. Ian McIntosh, the famous journalist, the football expert, seems to have lost his way. Week after week he's struggling. Week after week I can't seem to beat Sven. Something's going on there. I don't know if he's like copying, watching these videos and then doing it himself. But football goes on. So much football to get through this December, and Fan League is going to be there with you every step of the way. Let's get into it this week where I go through my bankers, my upsets and my half hedges for game week 17. My first banker is for Arsenal to get a win against Newcastle. Disappointing draw against Southampton, and there are huge problems at Arsenal, but at home, time and again, they do play well. Didn't get the win against Man United in the last game, but generally they are very strong at home. Newcastle have won 1 game in 10. They are struggling in a huge way, and they have the worst record in terms of playing teams in London of any team outside London in the Premier League. So this is a guaranteed banker for me. My second banker is for Manchester United to bounce back against West Brom, another team on a dismal run of form. Even Pardew coming in hasn't led to victories for the side. 12 games without a win. It's incredible stuff, and they're going to struggle till the end of the season, especially with such a change in style from Pulis to Pardew. Man United were poor against Manchester City, but that is a different animal in comparison to West Brom, and I think they'll have no problems in beating them. My final banker is for Liverpool's attack to be way too strong for Bournemouth. Bournemouth have only got 2 wins in 8 at home. It was such a fortress for them last year. What a game that was. 4-3 they beat Liverpool, but I can't see it happening this time around. Liverpool are so strong, and with a whole week's worth of rest with no Champions League football, I think they're going to come on leaps and bounds, and I think they'll be way too strong for a Bournemouth side who will come out and attack. On to my upsets now, and I kick off with Stoke versus West Ham, and I'm going to go for a West Ham win in this one. That will be an upset, and I certainly think that it could be a result that if Stoke City don't win that game, which is what I'm predicting here, Mark Hughes will be on his way out. Of those teams down the bottom, he's the only manager to survive currently, aside from Eddie Howe, who has so much credit left in the bank. But the Stoke players are not playing for Mark Hughes. 5-1. It wasn't just catching Spurs on a good day. They were awful. They're not working for the team. He's run out of ideas, and this weekend against a West Ham side who will have a little bit more confidence, certainly a lot more organisation with David Moyes after a few games, I think they'll get at least a point, maybe the whole victory, and that will be curtains for Mark Hughes. You heard it here first. My second upset is in the game of Derby versus Aston Villa. The reason this is an upset is I think that a lot of football fans who don't concentrate on the Championship won't know how well Derby County have been doing recently. They are second in the form table, 7 wins out of 10, only 1 loss in that time. They play against an Aston Villa side who I think a lot of people naturally cast their eye at, and they've really turned it around, and they've got a great squad there. But Derby County are flying at the moment, and I think they will be too strong for Aston Villa, who are getting there but aren't there yet. This Derby County side, they could go all the way. They could be back in the Premier League by the end of this season, and I think they'll get the victory this weekend. The final upset is my boys QPR. We have not won a game away from home in 17 games. So whoever we beat in an away game, that's going to be an upset. Birmingham City are struggling in a huge way. Cottrell is the man who's been brought in to deal with the mess of Harry Redknapp. I don't think he's good enough to do it. I don't think the players will respond to him. I don't understand why he keeps getting jobs. And more importantly, my man Ian Holloway, I love him so much, but the fans are starting to turn on him, and we've got to stop that. The way we can stop that is with a win against Birmingham City. We're running out of ideas at the moment in terms of the quality of the team, but I think those players, they do care about Holloway, and I think they'll give everything to get the victory against Birmingham City, a victory that they sorely, sorely need. Let's round off my review of my predictions this week with the half hedges. Going through, I'm using the same tactics that I've used in the last few weeks, which have worked very well. Generally going for the home side, but when I'm not sure, when it's a tight game, those are the games I'm half hedging. The ones I've done this week, Brighton versus Burnley. Burnley have been on fire this season, but you just don't know. Brighton are a good side at home, and they'll be gagging to win this game this weekend. So I've gone for the home win, but I'm half hedging that one. Chelsea, Southampton, I've got a bit of a gut feeling that Charlie Austin, my old QPR friend, might do something for Southampton if they get a chance. He's going to certainly start, and I think he'll probably take it. So they could sneak a draw against a Chelsea side who are struggling a little bit. Watford versus Huddersfield, such a tight game. You really never know who's going to win that one. So once again, I'm doing that same tactic, going for the home win, but then half hedging with the draw, because it just has really paid off for me so far this season. Derby County versus Aston Villa is a good Aston Villa side. They are on the way up. Derby County should be winning that game with the form that they are, but in the Championship, you really just don't know. Preston North End versus Sheffield United. Sheffield United done fantastic this season, but Preston North End are dark horses for the playoffs, in my opinion. I think they've got a nice little squad there, some really good loan signings, and they should win this game, but you never know with Chris Wilder and that Sheffield United side. They've caused so many upsets this season, so I'm half edging that one as well. And finally, I did put it down as a banker, but you cannot bank on Liverpool. Liverpool against Everton last week, we saw, and so many games this season, they have knocked on the door, but they haven't been able to get that second goal, and it's cost them. The same thing could happen this week against Bournemouth, so I'm half hedging that one as well. So those are my picks for this week. If you want to copy my picks, you can do by clicking down below. Head over to the Fan League YouTube channel. You'll be able to see some great videos where we talk about the weekend's action and go through our picks in a bit more detail. And also check out the One for the Weekend podcast on the Bull Street channel. It is the best podcast out there. Go and check it out. Make sure you join the One for the Weekend League. You can do that by downloading the app and getting your friends to download it as well, and you can join the league and chat with us and hopefully get us higher up in the rankings, because we're not doing very well, if I'm honest. I'm dragging them on my own. Make sure you do all those things. I'll see you next week. Good luck.